So did you like that candy?
No. The candy sucked. Don't ever buy me something with marshmallows again. If I'm gonna like blow my hypnosis, I don't want to do it over that shitty marshmallow candy, all right? I got rules.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Hey listeners, ever wonder what it would be like to sell everything and travel the country at the tender age of 50? Well, with our last kid off to college and the ability to now work remotely, we've decided to do just that. So we're selling the house, loading up the dog, and hitting every city from California to Florida. We're scouring the country for a new place to call home and dragging you into every restaurant, Airbnb, and tourist trap we encounter along the way. This is the Skip Town All-Stars podcast.
Greetings, All-Stars. How are you? Welcome to another episode. We are still in Florida. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Yeah, you're loving life. Anyway, so this is going to be our Kentucky episode.
Yeah, we were in Texas visiting Parker when we talked about our Texas episode, Corpus Christi, and, Parker did an episode with us.
Yeah.
When we found out that our youngest, Ellie, is going to be traveling with her volleyball team to their first, was it their first?
It was their first tournament.
Out of state
Yeah.
tournament.
She did not travel with them the first game, but she traveled with them for this upcoming tournament to Kentucky.
When you said she's going to be playing in Kentucky, can we be so nice to see her? And I said, well, why can't we? And you were like, you're right. Why can't we? And then we ended up staying there for what was almost like 5 days. We were there for 5 days. And it was nice because we really got a feel of Louisville, not so much Kentucky, because we stayed predominantly in the Louisville area.
All right, so we woke up the next morning super early. It was a brutal wake-up call. We got off to Bellarmine College in time to surprise Ellie, got to see her team play a couple games that day, and then we actually had some time in between.
To have dinner with her.
Yeah, we caught up with Ellie. We went to a very mediocre steak place that night.
Okay, let's talk about food. So James and I both tackle our food responsibilities a little differently, but kind of the same. I just veer off on a different path once in a while. So when it's my turn to pick the place for food, here's what I normally do. I normally will Google, like for instance, I'm just going to use Kentucky, Louisville, steak around me on Google. And then that will come up and I'll see like how many stars, how many reviews. Then I will go to Yelp and see what their stars and their reviews are. And then what I'll do, this is just what I do, I try to locate a local blogger who will tell me about the fair in the area. And I'm usually really good. I mean, man, I've hit them out of the park in certain cities with bloggers.
That's
with
like
food.
3 levels of verification you just rattled off.
Because I take my stuff serious.
Okay.
But a local food blogger always is a good resource for me. Yeah. Louisville food blogger did me dirty. Seriously. Like the very first place I went to was the steak place that got good reviews on Google, good reviews on Yelp. And she listed it in her, it was I think number 1 or 2 in her list of 8 great places, steak places in Louisville.
I knew it was going to go off the rails a little bit when we sat down and the tabletop was not attached to the base. And I felt like I was just going to have to hold up the table while you and Ellie ate the entire meal.
Well, no, I knew it was going to go bad when I told the waitress we needed a different table because it wasn't even one that you could adjust at the bottom or whatever the heck it was. And she gave me attitude and she goes, no, it's just off.
She goes off balance.
She goes, no, it's just this. And I go, no, he's a professional waiter, legitimately, worked he knows
retired.
waiting. Yeah. Retired. And he knows waiting. So if he's saying this table is off and I know I'm not an idiot, it doesn't take a brain surgeon to figure out it's the table, it's the leg.
Yeah, you could tell the way the top was wobbling.
Anyway,
it was not the legs.
She gave me attitude. It was in a strip mall, just everything about it. And
well, I mean, look, if you're charging $35 to $50 for a steak, your table should be put together.
The food in Louisville was bad. For me, I picked bad places. And I blame it on that blogger.
Well, no, you got the salad place, right?
I found that on my own.
Yeah.
I found that on my own. The salad place was the best one. But to be fair, we did not go in downtown Louisville. And I have to say, in all of our travels, and if you're a food person, you generally know it's no secret, some of the best restaurants are usually in a downtown area of any city.
Yeah, you need to impress the executives.
Yes. And so, I mean, look, of course, there are always good restaurants on the outskirts, but those are on the outskirts. Those are usually like random cherry picked kind of places.
Right.
And my mistake was we didn't go downtown when we were going out to eat. I kind of stayed in our area, which was still Louisville. And it was.
I mean, it looked like a nice enough area, a nice enough place.
It just wasn't like, at the top of a building penthouse steakhouse. You know what I mean?
No, it was kind of in an industrial area.
Whatever. It sucked.
My method's a little different. I just look at Yelp, and it has to have, if you're looking at a particular place and it's new, if it has about 600 reviews and it's a 4 or above, that's a pretty dang good place. There are others that are like 90 reviews and there'll be a 4.5, but I'm always a little skittish about those. It's kind of like producing a podcast. You send it out to all of your friends initially and they give you a great response. And it's not until you get those other people who are listening that reply and say to you, hey, this is also pretty good to us and we're not your friends, where you really feel like, okay, we're not putting out total shit here.
So you think 90 isn't enough? You think there's 50 scattered in there that are just friends and saying it's
come
good?
on, like 20 are just like, Aunt Sylvia and her grandkids alone.
Where's your threshold? Like, is it
It's like getting to the, like anything over 200 or 300, I'm like, oh, this place is obviously good if it's got a 4.5.
Got it.
If you can get into a 1,500 reviews thing and like it's around 4 stars and above, that's really good.
But then, so we're talking about this because James really, his superpower is finding food for us
On the fly.
The middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
On the fly. Like that is his superpower. My superpower is parking. He did not particularly care for the people of Louisville.
I didn't. Let me just go into this real quick. I'm talking to my people here. My people. When I say my people, I mean low rent white people. Okay? When I say hello to you, I expect a hello back. Half of your blood swims in my veins. Okay? Like when I am around hill people and I give you a head nod, I expect a head nod back.
You went on a little coffee walk and there was a guy that walked by you and he did not say hello, and that put your pants in a bunch.
And there were people sitting on their front porches in all these like rows of shotgun houses, right? And
But they're not
I walk
shotgun
past
houses.
Huh?
But they're not shotgun houses.
I think most of them are. We just have a washer in the back of ours. As I'm walking past them, there are people sitting on the front porch smoking cigarettes, which looks so surreal, by the way, in 2022. But actual cigarettes, I would say good morning to them or say hello to them, and they would look right at me and watch me walk past. Like, there's no way if I was standing on my stoop, sweeping it off, because I don't smoke cigarettes, in Los Angeles, and somebody came by and said good morning to me, there's no way I could not muster a hello to them just out of minimal like politeness.
Guys take
it's
that
so
stuff
weird.
I know, but guys take that stuff super serious. Like a girl will be like, "Ugh, whatever," but like you guys are like, he didn't say hello.
Well,
and
as
then,
I was walking, I was trying to figure out, like, do they just know that we're Airbnbers and they don't really want to be friendly? Like,
well,
what's
how far
the deal?
down the street were you?
Like really far. Like
So
they
he
don't
wouldn't
know
have
who
known?
we were. Yeah, I
Oh, so
know.
they're just
It was
not
so
friendly.
weird. They
did
were
not like
friendly.
you.
Yeah. Louisville was, and so naturally I went to Reddit, which is where I go to get my information on all these places, because I just feel like the users there will give you the real deal, like what
Reddit's crazy. I've told you this, but go ahead.
what it's like in Buda, Texas. Look up Buda, Texas. Hi, I've lived here for la la la. It's a pretty great, quiet town. Blah blah blah. Great. In Louisville, I kept reading over and over. The people here are boring or cliquish, and I really, it's probably not fair to most Louisvillians, but especially the area we were. I don't know.
So it was your experience.
It was definitely my experience. I was like, okay, I'm not going to have a good time buying a house here because my neighbors are never going to talk to us. So unless I want to live in total solitude, which I do have moments, I have flashes where I do want to live in total solitude.
This is also new to me because you generally don't.
I know,
like
I'm
to
generally just very not approachable.
I have no idea who
I
this
think
person is.
City life does that to you.
So going to Louisville, it's where they have the Kentucky Derby. So in my head, it was really disappointing when we went to this art festival, which was in downtown Louisville, and I saw what James described as like not very friendly people and a creepy vibe. And I actually just thought it wasn't the cosmopolitan group of people I had expected. And when you go to an art festival, you expect to see different walks of life at an art festival.
Sure.
It just is the nature of the beast. It's art. And I did not expect that. I just didn't. I mean, I thought it's Louisville, Kentucky Derby's here. It's a city. You can see that on the outskirts of any state. We have that in LA. You go to an area outside of LA just an hour and a half and you're going to see that. But I did not expect that in downtown Louisville. So that was kind of a shock.
I think overall we were expecting more traditional sort of style, both in the folks and in the layout. I'm just going to say it. When I roll up to a particular place, I like to be the roughest looking one there.
So you weren't the roughest and they weren't the nicest. I'm just going to say this as a person who's been from the city most of my life. Mm-hmm. I was shocked at like a destination place like Churchill Downs.
Yeah.
Because when you think of a destination place like Churchill Downs, and I'm going to use this because it wasn't far from the university.
No.
And it wasn't far from where we were staying.
Right.
Every place around Churchill Downs was a legitimate dump.
Yeah.
And I cannot understand that at all. Maybe if my Louisville listeners are listening, you can explain this to me. Like, what is going on with your city where you're bringing in massive amounts of money? I know it's only once a year, but I also know that people are probably training there. So you're bringing in massive amounts of money. I would say once a year, but throughout the year, a steady income. How are the houses shanties? And I legitimately mean shanties. Like you said that people were sitting outside on their stoop smoking cigarettes. What I saw when we were driving around Churchill Downs, because I wanted to see it and you wanted to see it. It was rocking chair, people missing teeth, sitting on their porch. I saw it. And I'm like, how? How is this here? It was weird.
It wasn't a working class neighborhood. It was downtrodden. Like it was
poverty.
It was
Okay.
but not poverty in the way where it's like, everybody's just having a tough time making it work. It was people, of all stripes living off the system poverty. And it was like, it was like Section 12 housing in that area.
But it was houses. It was like row houses.
It was. And I think some of those, my suspicion, just based off of that one house we had on our street way back in LA, that it was just generational, handed down from generation to generation. Nobody did any upkeep on the property whatsoever. I think there were probably several houses in that area that are like that. But then I also think, it definitely looked like drugs and crime and all that other stuff happens on the daily there. So it was a pretty sketchy area.
What I thought at first, because the area was so run down, is I said to James, they must use these houses to house trainers to come in during the year to train the horses.
And then we made a left, and I was like, babe, those are not horse trainers.
Nope,
sitting there.
They were not horse trainers.
For $200,000 or $300,000, you could find a pretty great house in a very cute little town. Covington their downtown area was great. I spoke to my brother, who's a truck driver, and he said, oh, no, Covington's nasty. You don't want to go there. And I'm like, I don't know when you were last in Covington, Kentucky, but that's not my representation, like what I saw at all. It was a pretty great area. There were a lot of places you could find at least a 2+1 or an investment property of some sort. The bottom line, though, is these towns are on the upswing, and I think there's been a migration from Cincinnati across the river from other parts of the country where, all of a sudden people are finding that they can work from home. And the downtown area has totally been upgraded in a lot of these little towns because when you go there, you find these great bars, these great restaurants, cute shops, things to do. But man, they keep those liquor stores open on Sunday because people need their bourbon. And I really appreciated that. Unlike some of the other states we've been to that had these sort of puritanical liquor laws and
Nope,
not
not
even a
in
huge
Kentucky.
drinker. I just don't like being told what to do. So in
Not-
Kentucky, there were no rules when it came to that. And I thought that was pretty great. When we were in downtown Louisville, we walked past some of the distilleries. We did not check into any of those just because we wanted to go see neighborhoods and all that. So it was really great that Bert and Jen took us to their favorite place in Ludlow called Second Sight Distillery. And boy, we did not have any idea the great time we were going to have there.
No, it was, first of all, it was, spontaneous for us. We did not know they had this planned, and the owner, Karis, was kind enough to open up the distillery for us and do a private tour. It's not just a distillery. It's like they have a tasting area.
Yeah.
They have a stage, so they have a venue. They have a bar in the back. It's incredible what he and his business partner, have done to this space. And they've had it now for, I thought he said 8 years.
Something like that.
Yeah. And it's a gem. So that was a really wonderful visit. And the one thing I learned is that Karis cannot ship his bourbon. Did you know it's illegal to ship alcohol?
I did know that, yeah.
I did not know that.
Unless you're a licensed distributor.
Yeah, so we were thoroughly disappointed because the one thing I wanted to do on this podcast was have a link to where you can purchase Karis's bourbon from Second Sight Distillery. And unfortunately, you cannot, which means you're going to have to take a drive to Kentucky. And there is nothing wrong with that. I think a nice visit to Ludlow would be worth your while.
Loving Kentucky. I think we can both agree Louisville was a bit of a miss unless we're just investing there.
Yes, it was disappointing for sure. Unless there's someone out there saying that we just took a wrong turn and there's a beautiful part of Louisville we just didn't see, let us know. But from our experience, it wasn't a place that we would settle down roots, but we would definitely buy an income property near the university. No question about it. Looking into it.
Well, maybe we were just completely on the wrong side.
Well, people will let us know. But we do know that we loved Covington. Definitely going back. We really loved Ludlow. Am I saying that right? Ludlow. Okay.
Yeah. Covington, Kentucky has entered the top 5.
It has. And we better get on it because after this podcast, everyone's going to be looking up Covington.
I know.
And next thing you know, we're not going to be able to get a house.
I know. I'm not going to be able to afford a place there. You can't fool around too long. Covington, we're coming for you.
We are.
Stay tuned, people.
Empty nest.
Full tank. Thanks for joining us.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.